Thank you for staying. I know it's getting tired this late in the afternoon. But hopefully we can pump each other up, have a little interaction here, talking about modern technology and how it can help IT become omnipotent, all-knowing, what we once used to be. Before we start, I have gifts. In return, you will tell me things about yourself. It's a simple survey I've done for almost 10 years, so it's important to me. How many here have more than 2 devices on you right now? Oh, sweet Lord Almighty. How many here have more than 2 operating systems? So you have a Samsung, or is it all? Sorry. And how many here uses a modern app that you brag about? You know what I'm saying? You show your butt, that's bragging. Like, have you tried this? How many here are like proud of using modern apps? I would throw that far, but I'll give it to her. Oh, sorry about that, but thank you. So my name is Alf. I'm with BMC Software. We do everything from IT management to workload automation, mainframe. Whatever you need to manage your IT, we got it. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about much more fun stuff. You spent a day and a half listening to how our world is changing. Cloud, mobile. We're not going to talk about that. You know that. You all use Facebook. You all use Twitter. You know that people have different expectations today. But it's important to start to think about not only to adjust to this new world, but to learn from it, to reap the benefits that are inherent in many modern technologies. And that's tough. I spent most of my career trying to figure that out. And it's the challenge I like, because it's hard. I mean, if you look at this, that lady up there, she has a piece of fabric on her that can read close to 67 different things on her. Heart rate, temperature on the body. And everything that they collect in that dress goes into apps. And those apps process the data. We call it big data. That's sort of the processing part. But what can you do with all this data? You can make life better for yourself and for your customers. I'm going to talk about that a little bit. All these employees that used to look up to IT and say that you are the best, used to think so because you gave them the tools. First phone I ever got was at IBM by the IT department. Ericsson, little thing. Went home and showed my wife. The first laptop I ever got was from a company before that. We didn't have a home computer. No one could buy a home computer back then. Dating myself a little bit. But today, my entertainment set at home is far more sophisticated than half of the stuff we're running in large enterprises. I have a house that knows when I enter through the sensor, it changes the temperature based on my heart rate. It can even tell me that I need to take medicine, buy different food, tell me to exercise more or less. I have a house that is smarter than your data centers. And that's not good. You guys can't always worry about that. You know they want this. You know, oh, we should have social interaction. We should have more mobile tools, be web this and web that. But you have other things to worry about. Cutting costs. They're constantly rise. Being more efficient. Just keeping the lights on. Something that people make fun of almost. Just keeping the light. It's hard. Making things run. Staying within compliance. Security. Damn Russians, hackers. It's tough. It's really tough. And on top of that, you have board members who come into you and say, hey, what have you done lately about, crowdsourcing? Are you gamifying? Huh? Coming up? No. It's tough to mix all this. It's very confusing. It's to the level where most people turn their back on it. And I don't blame them. Why should you? It's no real benefit right in front of you. right? If we install a Facebook-like interface, are we going to be trading at a higher level at Wall Street? Highly doubtful. Are we going to spend less time in the office? Even more doubtful. So you're looking for things to make this worth it, the ROI. To do that, you have to figure out who your customers are. As I said, my house is smarter than your data centers because my house knows who I am. You have no idea who your customer is. You know why? Because they lie. Retail knows this. Retail back in the days, 20 years ago, used to do surveys on the street or on the phone. They ask you, have you seen this ad? Yeah. Did you like it? Yeah. Would you remember it? Yeah. Who was the brand? Oh, no idea. And even if we answer the question in a certain way, we usually lie, unfortunately, as people. When they check what TV shows you watch, you fill out the survey. And then they stop calling you, right? They now see on the box what you watch. We don't watch PBS, so stop saying that we watch PBS. 65% of people said they watch PBS on a regular basis. I found out it was 25. So it's not your fault that you don't have all the information about your customers that you need. It's their fault. So you have to start to collect new type of data, objective data. And there's plenty of it. It's called social exhaust. Every time you go on the web, everything you do is being cataloged by Google, Apple, name it. Those little cookies, that's how it started. Now they put up ads next to your search result based on the websites you went to. Horrendous, isn't it? But those ads are closer to the truth because you went to that website. They would never put up jeans if you didn't look for jeans, no matter what you say about you need jeans or not. The true me is not this. It's this digital elf. And this digital elf will show you a world that is, you can take advantage of, that is filled with information you need to do a better job. So you need to collect that, somehow compute it, and spit it back so you can offer context-aware services. To help you with that, at BMC we have created an app called My IT. It's a self-service app, but it's two-sided. Obviously, it's going to help you not answering phone as often as you have to do with idiotic questions or guys like me. The VPN seems to be down. Can you help me? Yeah. Is your Wi-Fi on? No. Those type of engagement. It costs $20 per engagement, at least according to Gartner. And we're not going to tell that them are wrong at their party. All the apps out there today have little kernels that we can use in the enterprise. I'm not saying you should take a Facebook-like interface and put it in the enterprise. I say you should learn from how people use Facebook. Don't say that we should be mobile first. Look how people use mobile phones. Everything shouldn't be mobile first. There's a lot of things I would never do on a phone. But there are things that you have to change. And there are things that can wait. And this whole prioritization will be a great step in helping you moving from where you are today to have a better understanding what you need to do in the future. So let's take a look at what all this really means. Mobile and cloud is so old that we're not going to talk about that. But something that is fairly new is the whole social aspect. Think about it. You come home from work, and what's the first thing you do? Kiss your daughter on the head, and then you log on to Facebook to see what? What your life is like. What happened in my life today? What did my friends do today? What did mom post? What did grandma do? And also check what my teenage daughter's up to. We get a 360-degree view of our entire community, of our network. We should have the same thing at work. When I come to work, I open up something like this, and I see everything I need to know. What systems are up or down, what conference rooms are booked or not booked, things that relate to me, what I need. As a sales guy, for example, I might know that customers are coming to town. Well, I know I have customers coming to town, but there's also big events happening in the office. So maybe you don't have the customers there. Maybe move them away. Or I know that there's a new service being introduced. Well, I'm very interested in that. I want to find out. I don't want to go to the intranet. I'm certainly not going to read my email about it. We'll talk about that in a second. I want to have it served like I have it in Facebook or Twitter on a timeline. And then I want to have the ability to customize that. I don't want to hear everything. I couldn't humanly care less what the R&D cloud is up to, or if our mobile platform is running or not. But I want to know certain other things. So I customize. I follow the people and the things and the groups that is relevant to me as a marketeer, which is very different from you who are an IT guy, for example, or you who sell. So we need to customize into it. And here, whatever happened in my life pops up very quickly, and I can respond to it. I can share it. I can behave in a way that I'm very used to. This allows me to be more effective, more productive. Why? I am one person, and I have a little head with a little brain. But in this room, it's a bunch of us small people with little brains. And together, we become quite smart. What I know, you might not. What you don't know, she might. So, like just basic crowdsourcing, ideas, solving solutions, is enormously powerful if you customize it, if you narrow it down. If you followed every person in the world on Twitter, you would uninstall that app so fast because it would just be this rain of irrelevant drivel. But if you make it yours, my IT, you get what you need. And the idea of creating a more productive workforce who can leverage it themselves also helps you. You don't have to answer the routine calls because you've told people 250,000 times where the documentation for installing the new VPN is. So when I come, I'm not going to call you anymore. I'm just going to search for it here. Now, you might think that you have this tool at work already, and you probably do on an intranet somewhere, which no one visits, because it doesn't have the feel and look and experience that you have with a consumer app. When you shop today, you can go to Amazon and you can buy $10,000 worth of goods with one click. There's no form. There's no one to talk to. Just point at what you want and you get it. If you have a question, you write a little post maybe. Say, hey, do you have this shoe in that site? I couldn't find it. And they come back to you. If I'm going to go on a travel and I have questions, I don't call a travel agent or write a letter or fill out I write a post. And that post becomes knowledge that people can share. But that's not all. You can extend that to a world where the Apple Genius Bar become part of your enterprise. Think about it. When was the last time you introduced a new service? When was the last time you introduced a new service that all the people in your office love? It's a long time, right? It's hard to do. If you give them the choice, for example, to set up their own appointments when they want it, where they want it, you can develop your workload easier and they can be more productive because they don't have to lose downtime. Now, why would they do that? Well, doing it right now, like we talked about Apple Genius Bar, but it's going beyond that. I live in a small town up in the mountains, and we have an ER facility that serves a large community spread out. And a lot of people have to drive long ways, and when they get to the ER, they have to wait. And sometimes not ER-related issues, but we're poor up there, so not everybody have good health care. So what they realize is that we can't have this happen anymore. We got to help deal with the workload we have here in the ER, in the emergency room. So what do? You go online and you schedule yourself in. And you tell them in a form what's wrong with you. And they show you based on that, what time slots are open. And if things are running over, they ping you. And so what you do is you sit at home until you get the text saying, time to go in the ER. Just a side note, what that will do to not spreading diseases in the ER and waiting room is just amazing. But on top of that, the frustration, the lack of humanity that a lot of customers feel, or patients they feel, when they sit there for hours, sometimes 10 to 12 hours, it's all gone. And so even though they wait that long, they don't feel like they wait that long. Same thing in enterprise. I was in Houston recently. I'm based in California, but I was in Houston recently, and I needed my laptop looked at. Normally, I would have to give it to the IT guys 2-3 hours. There's very little I can do without a laptop. But I scheduled it during a customer meeting. So now they're fixing my laptop while I'm talking to customers. I don't need my laptop then. I didn't lose a second of productivity, and our IT department didn't feel overrun by this urgent need. They knew for 2 weeks that I was coming in. They knew what was wrong. They were ready. They loved it. I loved it. Very basic things. When you request services and when you post tickets, when you write posts and post them, I need to get another verb for that. When you write posts and post them, it's awesome because you get a lot of help from people. But IT doesn't like it. IT feel that, yeah, that's something you posted, but we need to track it. If you use, for example, Remedy, you need to have a ticket in Remedy. And you need to see who we should assign it to. We need to prioritize it. We need to have that done properly. So when I write this post, I can either post it out and just, hey, I'm having a problem with VPN. Can someone help me? Or if I'm a clerk in the retail store, the POS went down, the cash register went down. Does anyone know how to reboot them? That's cool if someone answers, but if they don't, that's not the way to run an enterprise. So when you post, the ticket is automatically the post is automatically converted into a ticket. It goes into your service desk system, and you process it there just like anything else, just like Amazon would. Now this is a wonderful experience for the consumer, right? For the end user, for the employer, whoever your services. They can very easily reach out to you, and you automatically systematize their requests and process them in your services just like you always would. And then on the back end, you not only get that information lined up nicely, you can see everything you need to know about the customer. This is what we call smart IT, and together this self-service and the service desk interaction makes it a smarter service desk. Because you as an IT agent know who asked the question without asking any questions. You know where this person was. You know what this person done. You know his role. You know his equipment, his history, preferences. All this that he has not only with you or you've written up in your profile, but what he's done when he posted in IT, the questions he asked, the groups he belongs to, his location. All these things come right up. You can now interact and give a much better service to them. Now, this drives us to the more context-aware IT. Based on all these things, you can also serve up services. You can help people help themselves better. Right now, if you want to request something or report something, you have to go to the service catalog, which is usually hidden on a VPN-protected intranet somewhere. And once you get there, you have to find the right service, you have to find the right category, find the right service, and fill out the form. And then you probably get some other questions. But you don't always have time to do that. You don't always know what to do when you do that. If I'm an oil worker, this is an oil platform with Texas companies. On this oil platform, equipment is down. You know what they do? They'll scream at someone, it's broken, and walk away. And then eventually facilities or maintenance have to come and fix it. But they might not always know it. And every time that machine is down, or as long as they get it fixed, money is lost. Same thing in the IT department. All the money we invested, from projector in the conference rooms to brand new licenses for cool apps, a lot of it is not used properly because it's down or it's not configured right. And we don't, in IT, don't know. Because no one told us. You know why don't tell us? Because of that long process I told you about. Logging it on, finding it, no. But if I can just click on an icon, up pops a little thing about information about, let's say, this specific projector that I can't get to work, or this specific server that's having problem. No matter how complex or uncomplex it is, you can have all the information there. Information, specifications, manual that people can just download, tips and tricks. There's a whole timeline where they can follow everything they need to do about this, and they can service themselves. And if they can't do it that way, they just click on a button and it says it's down. It's a red button and a green button. Green button up, red button down. As soon as that happened, not only do you get a ticket, knowing exactly who did it, where they did it, and thus know which equipment it is, when they did it, everyone in the company knows. So now I know, okay, Alf, don't go over to that side because none of the servers on that side is working anymore. The whole rack is down. Or it could be as simple as the clerk in the retail store again. If the cashiers are broken, we can't open up anymore. This is a big problem. But with a quick click, you can solve it, become far more productive. Well, think about it. That's how we function in the real world. Yelp, right? I use it all the time. Although I lived in Miami for a while, I don't really know Orlando, but I found really cool restaurants here. Just Yelp. It tells me where things are. It allows me to take action. Like with a click, I can call them and make a reservation. I have something I can make a reservation without even talking to them. I can see the menu. I can do everything I want to do with just a click. Hence, it's not something that's new. Something that's old, and thus we need to bring back. We need to have it in the enterprise. This isn't Contextaware, something that IT should have introduced, not some restaurant rating app, right? Same thing goes with tools. So an app store, or a hardware store, a service store. One single place where employees can get their stuff. I know what you're saying. You have the, I know. It's a nice white page and links. But that's just a place where you download it. That's not how it works. So everybody has shopped online, I can imagine, right? Amazon or some H&M, whatever. Have you ever bought anything without reading the reviews underneath? No. You don't take your wife on a trip without reading TripAdvisor unless you're suicidal. You're not going to go to a restaurant with 1.5 stars no matter what the New York Times say about it. You don't trust authority anymore. We don't even ride in cabs because Uber is more trustful than the authority. We believe in our friends, in our peers. So it's not so much that in my IT you can download all the tools, request all the services, do pretty much whatever you want. You can be told what to do, when to do it, how to do it, either by your friends or by your IT services. Give me an example. We have 3 different apps where I work for travel expenses. I've downloaded 0 of them. I do the manual one. And I travel a lot because I don't really know which app is good and I don't have time to learn the app. And you have spent so much money on licenses for these apps, but you know, every day is just chaos and I'm not really going to spend my evening to figure it out. But if I get a post on my timeline that I showed you from my good friend Jason, he travels too. And he said, hey, Alf, you got to check this out, man. This is unbelievable. You don't even fill out the stuff. You take the PDF and you email it to the app and it populates the field. I will download that app within seconds. Not so much because of the cool things there, but because he uses. And I trust Jason. He's my friend. That type of peer-assisted selection is what drives innovation, is what drives adoption. We don't do anything without the masses backing us up anymore. We're even afraid to formulate opinions before we first check. So imagine how important this is in enterprise, where we are overwhelmed because we don't know that much. As an average worker, we don't understand IT. We don't understand which apps are important or not. We just want it to work, like the television set. I don't know how that works. I just want ESPN to be on channel 38. If it isn't now, start wondering how the TV works. Until then, I'm fine. Just serve it up. All these features I talked about are cool. I know you think they're cool. But you're also wondering, so what does this really mean to me? What is the benefits of introducing context-aware solutions? What is the upside of tracking all that social exhaust? Well, number one competitive advantage nowadays is how smart, how fast, how clever your staff is. Since they're not that smart or clever to start with, we in IT have to help them. Because, to be serious, who can do anything without technology today? Right? Einstein today, without a laptop, would be just an old guy who used to work in a patent office. But with a laptop, with the right tools, with a network of friends and peers, a 16-year-old kid can become a genius. It's all technology enabled. And you, who used to be the one who gave us the cool tool, have to come back to that role of providing the best tools available. Because productivity is the one differentiator that no one can take away. And not to be North American centric, especially in North America and the Western world. Because we have a first order advantage. And the rest of the world is chasing that down with enormous speed. If we don't keep up, it's going to be tough. No matter how many years at Harvard you spent, without the proper tools, you're nothing. Level 1 calls. As I said, $20 per call, email, engagement, elbow nudge, can you come and look at this? We have customers who have tens of thousands of these per month. But it's not those big customers that really needs it. It's actually the small and mid-sized business that need it. Think about it, per employee, per capita, IT resources drastically drop the smaller the company. 500 people companies, they have maybe 1, 2 guys. Less than that, they might not even have an IT department. The more of these routine calls you can get rid of, the better. It will save you money, but far more important than that, it will allow you to focus on the things you want to focus on. You know what I mean? You don't really want to keep the light on. You want to innovate. You don't take these jobs to make things the same or perpetuate the status quo. This was a place where you were different, where you had dreams, where you've seen what others can do. You don't have time. You don't have resources. The to-do list just grows every day. Keeping the light on. Stop with that. Let the masses figure out themselves. And since they're not very smart, you have to help them. You have to know who they are, what they need, what they will need. And that's all available. This one is more of a get rid of the nightmares. Everybody wants to transform, right? Everybody wants to introduce new innovation. But it's, as I said, it's hard. Although you have dreams of what you're going to do, it's hard to make them come alive. MyIT is one example of how you can introduce context-aware, formless, crowdsourced technology in one fell swoop like that. You don't have to do it in a business-critical place where if this doesn't work, your data centers go down. Instead, roll it out to the masses. Take shadow IT. You guys used to be terrified of it. But now those among you who are smart, you let it in so you can study it. You want to see the trends, and it's hard to follow the trends because they're so fast. And you want to know which trends are relevant in your industry. Let the people help you decide what type of IT transformation you want. Using something like MyIT will help you guide that one. They will understand what's available to them, and you will understand how they use it. There's something we did at BMC is that when we built MyIT, we didn't necessarily worry so much about what technology was out there, but rather what people did with that technology. GPS, right? Everybody asks, can we track where our workers are? No. There's constitutional issues here. But they can track where they are. And then they can report that voluntarily. That's completely okay. As needed. they share their context with you. That's an easy way to introduce what is going to be one of the biggest changes in context-aware services. But most of all, it's love. It's all about love. We have to some degree let those we serve down. Because as I said, consumer technology took off and it hit us hard. It was tough. We were stuck with legacy stuff. Hey, BMC helped perpetuate that too, so I'm sorry. But that doesn't mean we can't change. We have to listen to our customers, but not necessarily to what they say, but what they do. MIT allows you to collect that information, convert it into new services that are based on their context, based on what they want, what they need. You know, Steve Jobs said I would never ask what people wanted an iPhone to look like. You can imagine what that thing would have looked like if he did. And we live it like that. IT is the smartest department in the company when it comes to IT. So we have to be trusted advisor, but not in a vacuum, based on real empirical evidence. Only then can we give people what they want. And that's what. And that will go from customer satisfaction to customer love. And people say, oh, what do you mean love? Have you seen what it looks like outside an Apple store when they release stuff? It's not normal. People love that stuff. Why can't you give it to them? Why can't they tent outside the enterprise? Because on Monday we're all going to get the new dingy-mingy. You have the power to do that. And it can be accomplished through a long process or by small tests here and there, whatever suits you. MIT is available on the app stores, iOS and Android. We have native apps for those. It's also available on any laptop if you don't want to do it on mobile thing. You just go to bmc.com if you want to do the laptop version, or you just go to one of the stores and download it. I think that's probably the best way for you to see that all the stuff wasn't all rubbish. It's actually awake and alive and running right now. And I can tell you about hundreds and hundreds of use cases, but it's not until you hold the device in your own hands and play with it that how it comes alive in your world. You have certain issues that you have to solve that are on a priority list, but looking at certain tools, you will realize there are other things you can do beyond the keeping the line. And I urge you all to try it. Whether you then decide to move forward with it or not, at least it will enlighten you what's available in the enterprise today. How at least one vendor took it upon themselves to try to usher some of it in a coherent way. It's not just chat. It's not just formless or context. It's all of it in a coherent way that makes you better and the customer better, because you know more about them. You know what they want. You become omnipotent. Any questions?